Okay, I can explain it. I can explain everything. No, I can't. Hey everybody, what's going on? Today we're going to be talking about an indie film that I have been waiting to see ever since I heard about it, Bill Watterson's Dave Made a Maze. Dave, an artist who has yet to complete anything significant in his career, builds a labyrinth out of cardboard in his living room. After his girlfriend Annie comes home, he reveals he's been trapped in his creation for days. After finally deciding to go in and bring Dave out, Annie and some of their friends soon realize that Dave was not only telling them the truth about his creation, but that they are now all in great danger. Before we begin, I want to give you guys a minor warning. While I won't be spoiling this movie per se, showing some of the footage from the movie may spoil some of the fun surprises that's in it. So that being said, you've been warned. Dave Made a Maze is the directorial debut for Bill Watterson. While it takes inspirations from many different things, I will say that all of them work together pretty well. Most definitely, this movie's strong suit is its creativity and imagination. Let's just put it this way. Who knew that you could have this much fun with cardboard? In a way, I would almost consider the labyrinth a character all its own. The maze has many different rooms and hallways, and all of them have different kinds of effects, whether it be effects on the room itself or on the characters. It's been a really long time since I've seen such creativity when it comes to stop motion and practical effects. What the crew behind this movie did with what I'm sure is a pretty small budget, it's pretty freaking amazing. Earlier I called this movie a pseudo-horror comedy, and here's why. While this movie is pretty violent, it handles that violence in a very cartoonish and fun way. Let's put it this way, people die in this movie, and it's hilarious. A perfect example is when that tech cutie from Criminal Minds loses her head, and instead of blood spurting out, it's the girlfriend's best ribbon. Every time something like this happens to another character, it's extremely creative. I have to say that I can identify with the main theme of this movie being someone over 30 that's trying to succeed in an odd career. Our main character has to deal with many different things, such as dealing with getting older, he just turned 30, finding out what's really important, feeling trapped, feeling like a failure, etc. This leads me to one of my real minor complaints about this movie, the other characters. For the most part, Dave and Annie have a complete arc, but the other characters are mostly there to be support or fodder for the labyrinth's traps. I'm not saying that this is a bad thing because the characters that are there are kind of quirky and fun, but none of them really have a complete story of their own. They do tease a few things, like the main character's best friend sorta having a crush on another man's woman, but it really doesn't go anywhere. Why this doesn't bother me too much is because there's other movies out there that do the same exact thing and we love them. I mean, really, do you remember or care about the other characters other than Ash and the Evil Dead? While it didn't bother me, I think one thing that might bother some people that watch this movie is the why and how. In the end, nothing's really explained. How and why did the labyrinth come to life? How is it creating things on its own? Where did the Minotaur come from? Why, if you stick your hand in a cardboard vagina, does your hand turn to cardboard? I'm not kidding about that one. Again, this might bother some people, but for me, this movie was so much fun, I didn't really care. A lot of people that have seen this are already saying it's going to be a future cult classic. Well, I'm not really going to say that right away because it's too early to tell. I could see it becoming one.
Instead of trying to defeat the maze, we've got to complete the maze.
We're not just doing that because it rhymes.
Well, then how about instead of trying to diminish it, you guys help me finish it?
Oh!
Yes!
Yes!
He's back.
While Dave Made a Maze isn't a perfect movie and does have a few flaws such as its character development, I have to say that it's still so much fun that I have to recommend it. Despite its minor flaws, just the creativity alone is worth checking out. If you are a fan of 80s movies like Labyrinth, Goonies, and others, you are gonna dig this movie. If you like fun and goofy characters, can find humor in movie violence, and love practical and visual effects, then Dave Made a Maze is just for you. Some of you watching this review might be saying, man, that sounds a little too weird for me, or I couldn't find myself watching that movie. To you, all I have to say is this: just because you're lost doesn't mean you're on the wrong path. If you'd like more information about this movie or want to find out where you can watch it, check out DaveMadeAMaze.com, on Facebook, Dave Made a Fan Page, on Twitter, Dave Made a Tweet, and on Instagram, Dave Made a Maze. As always, thank you so much for watching. I want to send out a special thank you to the makers of this movie for letting me check it out early and give my review. And after you check it out, let me know what you thought of Dave Made a Maze. But remember, It's only just one guy's opinion. I'm Gino Reynolds from The Real Gino. Till next time.